y'all, welcome back to Santino Sunday Cigar Review. This week we're going to be doing the Brothers of the Leaf by Drew Estate, so stay tuned.
Get it.
All right, welcome back everyone to Santino Sunday Cigar Review. I'm Mike, of course. Maddy is next to me this week again, and as she mentioned, we're reviewing the Drew Estate BOTL Brothers of the Leaf. And Maddy, I'm gonna just let you explain a little bit about the construction, and then I'll come back.
Yeah, so this cigar has one of the most unique wrapper binder filler combinations that I've seen in a cigar in a really long time. So it's got Nicaraguan Ligero fillers in it. It's also, but the binder of the cigar is really what makes it interesting. It's actually got an Ecuadorian shade binder on it. So it's actually wrapped in a really, really light leaf for the binder of the cigar, which you really don't find that often. And it's got a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper on it. So.
And you get that Nicaraguan filler, so
Yeah.
it's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, there is a lot going on with this cigar.
All right. So, and that was, I'll get right into my review, but it's a very interesting, so this is what is, a lot of cigar companies, most cigar companies I think do this. They offer certain selections within all their brands, which are called brick and mortar only, so they're only going to be sold in stores like this. They won't be sold on the internet or things like that. So a lot of ways, folks, and this is something we've talked about, over the last couple of years, is this is why we try to and hope and persuade people to be a little open-minded, because it's kind of funny in the industry circle within a shop. I think it's we love our customers, and cigars are really subjective. Everybody has a different taste or flavor that they're gonna like. But what's funny is when somebody, comes in your store, maybe for the first time, and asks, for a certain cigar that's the 5 or 10 most popular cigars, it's kind of funny, because we roll our eyes and we're like, yes, it's a good cigar, but would you be interested in something a little more unique? So this is what you get when they make these brick and mortar only cigars, because unless you go into a local shop, you're not going to find this stuff. So. Didn't mean to digress that much, but that's kind of the cool thing about going to your favorite shop, trying something new.
Yeah.
But all right, so interesting combination, as you mentioned, on the wrapper, binder, and filler and construction. You won't be able to see this on camera, but go into your local store. This cigar is kind of unique. It's very veiny, very everything is really protruding, and it's a very oily, dark wrapper. It's just a little different. I mean, I kind of like that look. It's not that smooth, refined, perfectly looking, rolled cigar. I just think it's a unique wrapper. I guess that particular Connecticut broadleaf is going to be veiny like that. But anyway, so my first third, you get. I've heard some reports, they'll be specific on, I taste wood. Now, I can't distinguish what it is, but a lot of people say it tastes like birch. I don't know. I never chewed on a hunk of birch. I do get a little bit of salt, which I don't pick up a lot of times on other cigars. Kind of like if you're eating Chinese food and you put soy sauce in, maybe a hint of soy sauce, a hint of salt. But it's a little earthy and rich, and I think that's just indicative of the region where the tobacco was grown. If you can do a retro inhale, the people out there that can do that, I can maybe not every single time, but I did do a retro inhale before we went live, and you kind of in a weird way, I kind of pick up like garden vegetables and a slight spice, or pepper, a little pepper flavor, but only on the retro inhale, not necessarily in general while I'm smoking. Anything else, Maddy? Otherwise, we'll We'll take a little pause, and I'll smoke a little bit more into this.
So yeah, I wanted to talk for a second about the sizes of
Yes.
these cigars. So these cigars are actually all three of the different sizes that they make for this. All are really actually small ring gauges for the kind of cigar that they are. So you have your Corona Gorda, your Lancero, and your Corona. Today, Mike is smoking the Corona, which is a 5x44. And it's just overall, you never really see an entire line of cigars like this be such a small ring gauge, especially in the market today, which really focuses on a lot of bigger ring gauge cigars. So I just
and you know,
found
I
that
love
interesting.
that because we love here at Santino's a smaller ring gauge.
Yes.
You know, we've really helped broaden some horizons and help some people out because not only we started bringing in a lot of smaller ring gauges because the industry standard is your Toros, your Grand Toros, your 6x60s. You know, the 6x60 really became exceedingly popular in this country. Not as popular around the rest of the world, but as you know, we've kind of talked a lot about that. I really enjoy the smaller sizes. I think when the original designer of cigars, you know, a tobacconist or, you know, a famous roller, somebody, these cigars were designed to be in a smaller ring gauge to optimize the taste that roller was looking for. As you go bigger, you get more filler and lesser quality tobacco to make up the size. And so if you really want to get the true impact of what somebody designed a certain cigar to be like, you'll probably find it more accurate in the smaller sizes. Is that pretty safe to say in general?
Yeah.
So anyways, all right, stay tuned, smoke a little bit more, and we'll get back.
Hey y'all, while Mike smokes into this a little bit more, I'm going to actually talk about some of the history behind this cigar. So this cigar is called Brothers of the Leaf for a really specific reason, and it's because back whenever the cigar community online was first really forming, there was a cigar forum, and there still is to this day, called Brothers of the Leaf. And they really inspired Jonathan Drew to make this cigar, which I think is a really cool thing. The fact that an online community that connects cigar smokers all around the world actually inspired a cigar that you can find in a lot of brick and mortars nowadays. Which,
Yeah, it is very interesting, and because just dovetailing back to the first segment where you started talking about wrapper and binder and filler. You know, that wrapper is what they call a Connecticut broadleaf. Now, it's not the exact same wrapper that Drew Estate would use in Liga, but I think it is very similar, and I think it's you know, a little bit more in demand and maybe not grown as much as other stuff. So I think that helps drive the cost up a little bit. I mean, I think there's a couple factors I'd like to just talk about that we haven't done in the past, but you know, we always bring up price. So the price point of this cigar, I think, Maddy, is going to be a little bit towards the higher range of what we have typically in the industry has typically talked about, that $8 to $12 sweet spot. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, people out there are, you know, might be thinking, okay, so if it's, you know, if it's at that higher end, why is it at the higher end of that $8 to $12 price range? And look, this is just my opinion, and Maddy, you can chime in. It's our opinion. We don't want reps or manufacturers or, you know, people just, you know, calling us and, you know, this is just an idea that I have. You know, I think, especially when you get these, you know, and Drew Estate, we know, makes a lot of quality stuff. Or companies that make a lot of product, and not all their product is really good to smoke. Then there's companies like Drew Estate that make a lot of product, and it's, you know, no matter where you at in their spectrum of portfolio, is good to smoke. Mm-hmm. But I think, you know, when you're selling only to brick and mortar, my opinion or thoughts would be, I would imagine you're going to have to take better control of quality, and that's everything from the appearance of the components used, which is wrapper, binder, and filler, and you're going to be looking for the best, you know, of those three ingredients, especially the wrapper. I think when you're dealing with just brick and mortar, this mass-produced notion that you get what the big chain stores on the internet sell, you can't mass produce this kind of quality. So, I don't think there's one answer or one, explanation of, why. As far as price goes, most retailers are going to tell you they price all their products the same way. And most of us use the suggested retail from the manufacturers. But I think there is something to be said about when you get a better quality and it's not produced as much and not sold, like I said, through the internet. I think you're gonna find a better product. And what do you think, Maddy? I mean, what's your opinion on brick and mortar and price and all this stuff?
So, I think also with the brick and mortar too, whenever you go to a brick and mortar, even though the cigars may be more expensive, you're also paying for the experience of the brick and mortar as well. You're paying to sit in a comfy chair, have someone wait on you and give you drinks and stuff like that too, which I think is well worth it as well.
And you have to grade, everybody around the country or world has to grade their own local shop. Everybody's going to be a little different. Some stores' budgets are going to be different than others, and what you're really looking for is a true temperature, not just humidified, controlled room. Most of your local retailers around the country are always going to have some form of humidification. Now, if you lived in Florida, you're not going to worry about humidity as much as if you lived in the Midwest or North or in Europe or wherever. But in general, you want to look for places that have correct instruments in place to make your experience it's at its optimal level. And that's why we do the things we have here to make that experience as premium as we can. So, all right, folks, getting back to the actual review. In the second third, I still get that woody, earthy taste, which has been throughout the cigar since I started. But I get a little bit of, sometimes you'll hear in reviews something tastes like a coffee bean or maybe even a certain flavor of coffee. I don't necessarily get that, but there's some great coffees around the world, and we enjoy drinking coffee. To me, this tastes more like a Middle Eastern, Turkish type, maybe like Bosnian, Croatian, kind of that part of Europe, even, so you got, the Middle East and that part of Eastern Europe. I think it's got that kind of coffee taste and flavor, if the audience can understand what I'm talking about. A lot of people drink Cuban coffees and Italian coffees and things like that, but it's a different, interesting coffee flavor that I taste in this, which is kind of cool. So, all right, we're going to keep smoking. We'll wrap this up, so stay tuned. All right, welcome back. We're going to wrap this up. I think I went on a little too long earlier. In this last third, which I'm really starting to like, maybe even more than the first 2/3, is I'm getting a slight hint of cinnamon crackers, like a cinnamon graham cracker, and that's kind of a cool taste. Plus, the draw is just getting more and more effortless as I've been going on the cigar. I kind of forgot to mention that. And a lot of times I forget, when we talk about these cigars from week to week, they're already premium. I think people understand that the quality and construction is always going to be there. I sometimes forget to mention that. Maddy, what do you got as we're wrapping this up?
So I'm actually going to transition over to our pros and cons for this. So my pro for this cigar is the ring gauges. So no matter which one of these cigars you pick up, you're going to get a smaller ring gauge cigar that's going to be really good, and it's going to be a nice little smoke to have. I think this would be a great smoke to wrap up somebody's night. My con is the availability of the cigar. So as we mentioned previously, this is a brick and mortar only cigar, but there's actually another level to the brick and mortar only. You can only get this cigar if you're a Drew Estate Diplomat, which is even more of a limited group. So the availability of this cigar is going to be really, really low.
Yeah, so if you basically what Maddy's saying, if you go into any of your local stores, that sell acid in Drew Estate, and you're thinking it's going to be there. It just may be, but if they're not a diplomat status, they're not even going to have the option to be able to purchase this cigar. We are here at Santino's, so that's why we get all these unique selections from different manufacturers. So that is a good point. I forgot to mention that. And my pros and cons. My pro would be I kind of really enjoy this unique taste because of the combination of that wrapper, binder, filler. Mostly, you know, I think most of your taste on any cigar is going to come from the wrapper, right? That's where a lot of that, when your first palate hits, that's the wrappers giving you that flavor. So I think the uniqueness of that Connecticut broadleaf is what really helps us. So I'm going to say that's a pro for me. Con is, you know, simply the price. It's still within that range of what you expect to pay for a premium cigar. I just wish it was a little bit towards more the middle of that price range. But I think we talked about that earlier, of limited supply and quality and the time that it takes to do something like this. So Maddy, anything else? Anything coming up, or you want to mention?
So yeah, I'm going to do our weekly little thing here. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the notifications so that way you can be alerted whenever any one of our videos go live. Make sure you check out our Facebook because we still have a Drew Estate /Acid promotion going on right now. All the full details of that will be on there, so make sure you check out our Facebook. We also have new stuff being posted almost every day onto there, so that way you can see what new cigars or what new liquors coming in. And
yeah, I just want to throw out, you know, unfortunately, folks, we have not been able to do like the rest of the country. We can't really do cigar events. We can't even do what we really specialize in here also is liquor tastings with some of the best whiskeys in the world. Unfortunately, as things get better with the coronavirus situation, we will expand and be able to start doing events. People ask about it all the time. We haven't given up on it, but we're just trying to be conscious of what's going on around the world. So remember, folks, here at Santino's, we drink,
we smoke, and we know things. Have fun, y'all.